welcome to episode 36 of the Shoegazing podcast. As always, hosted by me, Jesper Ingvaldsson of shoegazing.com, one of the largest sites in the world on quality shoes. For this one, I met up with Daniel Bucheli of the Swiss shoe company Majordome. It was founded in 2012 in Zurich. They now have stores in their hometown as well as Lausanne, Bern and New York. Majordome started off doing only Goodyear welted made-to-order and made-to-measure shoes, and still today custom orders account for about half their sales. Even if the brand has a foundation of more classic styles, what they are most known for today are their more unique designs. These are often more casual models that work with contrasts, but never over the top, always highly wearable. Stuff like their boat shoe model, casual Oxford, blotcher boot or galoche sneakers are all ones that have a distinct Majordome character. Check out their Instagram to understand what I mean, if you're not yet familiar with them. With Daniel Bucheli, I talk a lot about the design aspect and how a brand can find its own aesthetic language. And of course, a lot more. So enjoy your listen. Okay, Daniel Bucheli of Majordome. Welcome to the Shoegazing podcast.
Thanks for having me.
We're here in your really nice store on Madison Avenue in New York. Really great location.
Yeah, definitely. For us, that's a place to be.
Yeah, it's nice. We're gonna talk more about how you ended up here.
Yeah,
but it's really cool. This is sort of like the shoe center of the town when it comes to this type of more premium quality footwear for men, especially.
Exactly.
Several brands in the neighborhood.
Yes. So when I was looking to open up the store, I looked where the competition is, and they were basically all clustered around here on Madison. You have Carmina, you have Crooked & Jones, you have Allen Edmonds, and then a little higher up, you have Berluti, you have Santoni. You have them all. So I figured, that's where we want to be. And if you're afraid of the competition, don't even bother
exactly.
Opening up.
And you stand out in your way, so to speak. That's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah, and it's also because at the beginning we were also afraid you open up, and the people are just like, yeah, whatever. But to see that the people are into it is really fun. I just sold a shoe to a customer an hour ago, and he came in wearing John Lobb shoes. Normally used to get them bespoke from Cleverly, and comes in, he's like, I like what you do. This, and then you say the price point.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make a shoe.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so it's for us. It's a good place to be.
Yeah, cool. You have a lot of these just dropping by customers in this location.
Yes. Yeah. So we're good at many things, but not at marketing. So we still get most of our traffic is word of mouth and walking by. Yeah. So we
don't have a big social media advertising budget that you pump out.
No. We did a few tries and it never really worked. Maybe we'll do another try in the future. But for now, it's really the store at a good location, and also it's a pretty small store, so that the overhead is not too big. And for us, that's the best way to do it. Yeah.
But let's rewind a bit and talk more about you and the development of Majordome. But sort of, first of all, how did you end up in the shoe world?
Yeah, that's an interesting story. So my background, I don't know if you know that my background is physics.
Okay, no, I didn't know.
So I have a PhD in theoretical physics.
Oh, okay.
So
very different then.
Pre-shoes, I was doing something quite different. And then I finished university, and then I was a little bit thinking what to do. I did teaching, high school teaching for a bit.
And this was in Switzerland?
Switzerland, yeah.
And where?
I was teaching in Fribourg. Yeah, Fribourg. Yeah. Then it was like, okay, teaching is just not for me. Like you show up Monday morning and the kids are like, oh, math, yeah, that wasn't for me. And then I was thinking maybe like a lot of people with what I did going to banks, finance, insurance, that was also not really for me. And then I was here for 3 months with a friend who's a carpenter and was doing like a little carpenter internship.
All right.
Just being here a bit and like the city. And then I figured like at some point I want to do something here. And then I went back to Switzerland and my colleague Gianluca, who founded the company, asked me if I wanted to join.
But you were friends or?
We grew up together.
Oh, I see. All right.
I've known him now for 30 years, a little more. And then we figured, okay, I join him. We work a little bit together. And then after a few months, I'll go to New York and open up a store there. That was
What was this?
That was in 2016, 2015, 2016. Yeah. And then we started working together and then, instead of a few months, it became a few years and we kind of grew the brand. And then just before COVID, we already had some pretty concrete plans of opening up something here. And then that fell through, luckily.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Before COVID, because would have been the worst case scenario.
Yeah, exactly.
So we
signed a contract.
We basically got a second life for free. And then, COVID was really the moment to either do it or not. Yeah.
So you actually opened the store more or less during COVID hit?
During COVID, yeah. I had to get a national interest exemption, which was very hard to get in order to be able to actually get to the country.
Yeah.
And you have to go to, check with the embassy and all of that. But when you tell them you bring some money, it's always a little easier.
Yeah.
And I managed to actually come in when it was still very, COVID-y.
Yeah.
And find a store and kind of open up in that phase. Yeah. Which was also tough because it wasn't clear how it would go. And then when it opened up, there was some point another wave that came in January 2021 or 22. And the city was just dead. Yeah. It wasn't always easy, but it was a good moment to kind of catch that wave of everything reopening.
Yeah,
the decent rent deal.
Yeah, I can imagine that you got a better deal during COVID than before.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But if you look at the sort of quality shoes pair in Switzerland, how would you describe it?
It's pretty small. Also in terms of stores. So on one hand, we don't really have that culture as much. It's, I think people generally are not into menswear in general. And the ones who do often travel for work or leisure to France, to Italy, to England, and get their stuff there. Everything is so close in Europe. So you don't have that many stores. Yeah.
But how, because you have Majordome has 3 stores in Switzerland, right? In which cities?
In Zurich, in Bern, and in Lausanne.
Yeah. I mean, makes sense. And there you also have the business people, of course.
Zurich, you have the business people. Bern, a little less. Yes. But also, on the other hand, in Bern, you don't have any stores. Basically, that sell a nice looking and well-made shoe. And you still have quite a few people who don't want to just wear a sneaker.
Yeah.
So it can also be a benefit to going to a smaller market, but that is pretty open. Yeah.
But you have someone like Bali here, who is really one of the big European shoe brands, even if it's sort of transformed through the years and now more as a sort of a luxury company. But they have a really nice shoe heritage, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, in their heydays, they were really big. I mean, it's a Swiss company, right?
Yeah.
So they were definitely big. And then, I know, for example, in Bern, they had a store. They closed it maybe a year ago. So even for them, it was apparently tricky to make the rent.
Yeah.
They should have done better.
Yeah.
And so my partner here in New York, Venice, he worked for them. He helped them open up a store in the 90s. And that's where they were the hottest thing, on the block.
Yeah.
They, I think, were some of the first who started doing also some sneaker. And I think at some point they really, did it well of doing high-end shoes with a bit of fashion.
Yeah.
And, somewhere along the way they lost it.
Yeah. But so Majordome was founded it was 2012?
Yes.
And Gianluca, what's his family name?
Cavicelli,
yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about the journey of Majordome.
So he founded it, and then shortly after his brother joined him, Florian, he then, I think a year maybe later, went to Fribourg, where he lived, to open up a store there. And then in 2016, I joined. And then
you only had one store in Fribourg?
We had one store in Fribourg and one in Zurich.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I joined, we actually opened up a second store in Zurich, one just for ready-to-wear, one just for custom. But that didn't really make sense. And then we put it back together into one. And then we opened up the store in Bern that's run by Gianluca's father.
Oh, family business?
Yeah. And then we moved the store from Fribourg to Lausanne. And then Florian left, and René's girlfriend, Aline, took over and is doing the store in Lausanne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So family business.
Family business.
With me, understand.
And good friend.
Family and friends. Yeah. And then in 2022, Elio joined, and he works in the Zurich store and also on the brand.
You mentioned it a little bit, but you work a lot with custom orders, right?
Yeah, about 50% of what we do is custom. And when we started, we only did custom.
Yeah.
And then in, I don't remember, 2017, I think, we started doing also some ready-to-wear. Yeah. Because, you get the guy who just wants a black cap toe, simple feet, and needs it for his wedding next week. That made sense.
Yeah. And also, how do the custom order process works for you?
So custom, in custom, we do three different things, I would say.
Yeah.
So one is the person with standard feet, but he wants this style with this sole, maybe this little detail, and doesn't find that shoe that he's looking for, and then we make it for him. The second is like a made to measure, where we have a large range of lasts, like a library of lasts, with some very narrow ones, some very wide ones, and where we also can do some tweaking. With that, when we do custom, we mostly work with that.
Yeah.
And then we also more recently started doing like full custom, where we make lasts from scratch. But that's something we don't do as much. And we normally do it if there is like a necessity for it. If you have a guy, for example, with very wide in the front, super narrow at the back, or inserts that are, thick. So when he puts it in the shoe, it doesn't work, something like that. Then we do that.
It's more to be able to please everyone, even if the made to measure doesn't work.
Exactly. Yeah. If you have the guy who wants like the full bespoke, then, you tell him go full bespoke.
Yeah.
That's not what we do.
No,
but we can get very close to it. Yeah.
Cool. And you work with one or several factories, or how does it work?
So the lasting is all done in one central production, and in certain steps we do it externally to kind of get the control and the attention to detail that we need. So for example, the stitching of the upper, we do it externally. We have 3 people that do our stitching.
Oh, okay.
So they also know the styles, and especially for the custom made, you do one-offs. We have over 100 different patterns. It's important that the people who do the stitching, they know all the patterns, they know how it has to be done. And then also the leather, we handle it ourselves internally, the sourcing and the stocking.
You have some quite special leathers.
Yeah, we have I think we have over 100 leathers. And so in order to have the control you need, you talk with Rob last time, with the lead times and everything for the leathers, you have to handle that yourselves in order to, even then it's tricky, but so that you always have the leather in it.
But this is done in Spain?
Well,
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. All of that we do in Spain.
Yeah. So how's the challenges with the factories? Is it smooth nowadays, or is it?
No. It's always. I think everybody who does custom knows that's just part of the reality of doing custom shoes. And then it's, on one hand, it's like on the customer side, so it's always clear for the customer why something is tricky. He likes a shoe, and he's like, instead of doing 3 eyelets, do 4, and you're like, that's kind of cumbersome, because the guy who does the pattern has to make a new pattern.
Yeah.
The guy who does this, everybody needs to do a bit more, and the customer's like, oh, it shouldn't be so hard. So you have that you the customer has certain expectations, certain wishes, and then you have the reality of a shoe production where things need to be a bit more clear cut in order to work well. And then you have the standard things where it happens rarely, but they take the wrong leather, or the stitching is wrong, or then you can have that the shoe is maybe a little bit delayed, and then it breaks when they take the last out, and then you have to tell the customer, like, the shoe broke, we have to remake it, and they're like, come on, it's already been 10 weeks. So that's definitely one of the challenges. And then the other one is with the materials, especially the leather, that you get the leather in time. Sometimes it's not up to the quality you want. Sometimes one batch is different from the last batch, and then the sample you have in store doesn't look exactly the same as the new batch you got in. Yeah, some of that, those type of challenges.
But has it become trickier or easier through the years?
I'd say probably both, and then it kind of levels out.
Yeah.
So for us, Gianluca handles that, and it's almost a full-time job to make sure that all the custom orders come the way they should. And then it's also learning how the production works, and kind of seeing, like, what has to be told, what has to be done, how much can you push, how much not. I think it's, once you've understood that, I'd say it's pretty much on a straight line. Yeah. And then you get some issues, but that's...
But did you say how much is ready to wear? How much is custom for the whole company?
I'd say about 50-50.
Yeah, right.
In terms of, we probably sell a bit more ready-to-wear shoes, but in terms of revenue, it's maybe a little bit more on the custom. So it's always around there.
And can you say roughly how much you sell?
How many yours? How many thousand pairs? Around 5, maybe. Yeah. I think that gives you maybe a little more. I didn't do it with the 4 stores, but that's a ballpark range. Yeah. Not 100,000.
Not 100,000. I didn't expect that.
No. And not just a few hundred. Yeah. Not like a bespoke maker that does.
No, exactly.
30-40 pesos, somewhere in the middle of that.
And especially when you do custom, it's a nice number, sort of bit reach.
Yeah, I mean, even for us, sometimes when you go through the orders, you're like, oh wow, I sold that one. It's like, it adds up. Yeah. And then you also, at our price point, you also have customers, they order 3, 4, 5 pairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the price of the shoes in general?
So in US dollars, the ready-to-wear starts a bit above 500, and the custom around 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's mainly Goodyear welted? Only welted.
Yeah. For the time being, that's what we stick with. And then, I mean, we like everybody, we feel the desire from the customer for softer shoes, more comfortable shoes, and then it's always intriguing to make them cemented or differently. But for the moment, we stick with that, and then you try maybe some softer leathers. We develop our own sole that's a bit thinner, that's still Goodyear welted, still resolable, but flexes a little easier. So things like that for the moment. Yeah.
And you have a lot of work with sticky rubber soles and stuff like that, where you can also have cushioning in the outsole, so to speak.
We also, what a few did, you once mentioned it in, I think, with Red Wing, we also have the possibility to do, the comfort flex of the insole, but it's not really the nice way. What we do actually in New York quite a bit is when you have a guy who really needs, we often have the guy who's like, I have 20 pairs of Alden shoes at home, and when I wear them for 2 hours, my back hurts, so I need something else. And then what we do, for example, is we drop the footbed a little bit. So you take the last, and you actually make the last maybe 3-4 millimeters thicker.
Yeah.
And then you can actually put a soft insole in that, if it's used up after a year or so, you can exchange it. And then from the outside, if you really look at it, you can see that it's a little bit, deeper than a standard shoe, but you don't really notice it. Yeah. And that works quite well. Yeah.
All right. I know Majordome, to me, and I know also to many others, has sort of a unique design language in many ways. How would you describe this?
Well, first of all, thanks. It's always fun to hear that people see that. It's definitely what many try, that you do tweaks on plastics. That's definitely something we do, and that the classic can be something like a split toe or like a hole cut, where maybe you change the line a little bit to make it more interesting, or we more recently maybe you found like a Nike shoe that you think has like an interesting detail, and you wonder like if that translates into the world of Goodyear welted shoes. And sometimes it can be really nice because it kind of brings out best of both worlds. Sometimes it doesn't. We've had that too. So I'd say it's definitely that we, when we don't start from scratch, we have like some shoes we like, and then we kind of think like, how could we twist it to make it maybe a little bit more interesting. And then, so my background is science.
Yeah.
Gianluca's architecture, and Elio is a boat designer. So I think we're all, from our background, more in like looking what's a nice line, how should the shapes be. So so pretty sober. And say from that point, no like embellishment just for the sake of it. Yeah.
Would you say, was it there from the beginning, or has it sort of developed over time?
It has definitely developed. Yeah. It's interesting when you look all the way back. Then you see we started out with maybe 10 styles, and it was capto, pole cut, plain toe derby, chukka, double monk, very, very standard. And then, we had some different leathers, and because it was custom, you could like use 2 different types of leather. And then from that, it got a little bit of an identity. And then over time, we started doing 3-4 styles each season. And then it kind of, slowly developed.
Yeah. And who do the design of your lasts and models?
So it's me, Elio, and Gianluca.
Okay, so you all work with this. So to speak.
Yeah. And then everybody has kind of their forte. Yeah. I think often have like a good idea, but then go overboard. Then Gianluca has a good tendency of kind of bringing it back in and say like, okay, like this is a good idea, this maybe not. And Elio maybe then like a fine tuning of like, okay, that might be maybe the line a little bit like this, a little like this. We're definitely nerds in that regard. Yeah.
And it feels like, especially the more sort of casual styles that you brought out in more recent years, at least for what it looks from my perspective. I follow you, but I don't follow you super closely. But it feels like that's where you sort of have more and more of a Majordome identity with this. It feels a bit Swiss in some ways.
Yeah. Maybe like from the graphic design period of Switzerland. Yeah. definitely.
You know,
That
maybe you see it's also heightens the mountains and mapping the styles and
the what they call gorp core.
yeah.
So it's a little bit that.
I heard it, but I would never be able to place it in exactly what the definition.
Well, it's kind of that look of more mountain stuff, but in an urban setting.
Yeah.
And that's so we started, for example, with a very simple idea of using the galoche line.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it kind of makes the shoe look a little bit bulky, because you take a hole cut, and on our last, the hole cut is elegant. You add the galoche line, it already looks a little sportier, maybe because it kind of mimics a plimsoll. And then from that we did various iteration, and then you also make shoes that really work, where you use like a tougher leather around, and then for the upper part a softer leather. So it's
a lot of sturdy boots that are made in that way. To sort of exactly like you say, for durability and practicality, so to speak.
And then we did that also not just for like boots, but also for lower shoes, which is maybe something you see a little less.
Yeah. And I know this is, you also have these, how would you call it? It's closed lacing, but with a wider space
at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like almost a derby, back with closed lacing in a way.
Well, we have one or two styles like with two hole cuts, where like one is like a classic hole cut, but at the bottom it has like a little T shape. So and then when you work with the piping, you almost get something between a hole cut and a derby.
Yeah.
And then we also have another hole cut that has a wider lacing, and as you say, the lacing kind of falls like a derby, but then it like a Stan Smith, but then it stops and still stays a hole cut. And sometimes you don't really manage to see why it looks more elegant, but normally the more one-piece leather you get, the nicer it looks than when you have to cut it out. Yeah.
Oh, cool. What styles are the most popular nowadays, would you say?
I mean, we always have these two lines. We still sell a lot of black penny loafers.
Yeah. You have the classics still.
Yeah. And then the newer ones, definitely like the boots or some of the sturdier stuff. Also a lot of like loafers with chunkier soles. That's what we sell most.
Yeah.
I mean, in the custom, we also have some custom styles where you sell maybe, I don't know, 5 a season. And because it's custom, you don't mind. And it's a cool shoe to put in the window. Maybe it brings people in and then they buy something else.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's not like in the ready to wear where, if it doesn't sell next year, you push it out.
Yeah.
With the custom, if it's a cool looking shoe, you keep the sample. If somebody likes it, then we do it.
Yeah, because you have loads of samples if you go through the archives and see what you have in the stores.
Yeah, definitely.
It's really nice. So how important is sort of the rest of the branding with, everything from logos and website to stores and social media and all that?
The most important for us is definitely the stores. Yeah, that's where, and one, because we do custom and you need to have the proximity with the customer, but also the way the stores look. Like all 4 stores look the same. All have that very minimal kind of industrial look paired with some older furniture. So it's definitely important to kind of give the vibe of the place. Yeah, and I remember when I opened up here, and a friend of mine from Brooklyn who's a carpenter told me, like, you can't do the store in New York like you do in Switzerland. It's not going to look premium enough. People are going to I'm not going to buy a $600 shoe there. And I'm like, well, that's all we know. And that's kind of, part of our brand identity. And then we did. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, it works, because people are intrigued. They're like, okay. And then do you do the shoes here? Because it doesn't look like, there's no chrome, there's no glass, there is no marble. So it for us, it does work. And it's also to some extent similar to the shoes, that it's like a very no bullshit, clear cut aesthetic. And I think people understand that. Yeah. And then other than that, the website, it's very hard to translate that vibe into the website. also maybe something we need to learn a bit to do more. Photo shootings are pretty important for us.
Yeah.
So we've always done the photo shoots and sometimes had, clothes made just for the photo shoot because we had a clear idea of what it should look like. So that's definitely something we do. And then social media, because you have to do it, and we try to do it well, but it's definitely another forte. Yeah.
But you definitely, it sounds like you try to have a connection between your branding and the shoes. And
yeah, definitely. So you have like the combination of old and new to some extent. Like, you have that industrial look of the store with some older elements, and I'd say the same in the shoe. You have like the traditional way of making shoes, maybe paired with some more modern or contemporary aesthetic. And then the kind of our idea to work with what we got, because, in the store, you'll see it like the display towers are just our shoe boxes, or like the lampshades are belt boxes that we did a cutout. And similarly with with the shoe design, you kind of have your field set by doing Goodyear welted shoes and having certain lasts, and then within that field you kind of try to create your idea. Yeah. So definitely, it's definitely a connection there.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a few men's shoe brands where one often can sort of instantly recognize the maker, even if it's not a unique model, you see, necessarily. I mean, brands like Cote, Sonky Boot, Trickers, Enzo Bonafé, maybe Majordome, and I'd say. I mean, do you think there's something that all you have in common, in a way?
Well, first of all, very nice. Hard up. Yeah, few. For example, Corte, you have that elegance, simple, but always like very clever, but like a twist and some just like a simple idea, but done well. Definitely something we try to do with some of our styles. Sonky Boot, it's then a bit more, I'd say, minimalist. And some of our whole cut styles kind of follow, I think, similar ideas.
Sonky Boot is probably the one that you most resemble of the ones that I mentioned.
Yeah. And then Trickers and Enzo Bonafé, maybe a little less. It's also brands that it can pinpoint maybe a little less.
Yeah, I mean, Trickers is the British country style, but they sort of, in a way, managed to make to their own.
Yes,
but and I'm sure that there's plenty who would disagree with some of this, and some would agree, and some would add a lot of other brands. It's of course also personal. But I feel like all these brands, when you talk with people, they are some of the ones that people mention as having their own sort of character, so to speak. Do you have any other shoe brands that you admire when it comes to the design?
So for personally, my favorites are probably some of that new wave of Japanese shoemakers. With Gianluca, we sometimes joke that when we sell the company, we go to Japan and get a pair made by TYE.
Yeah, exactly. When we talk about good shoe designers,
every time, like on Instagram, he has a new. He's like, oh, that's clever. That's really nice.
Yeah, and
that's like it's simple, but it's like, oh, that's kind of it's square. Okay, so
put so much effort into the design part. The brand we talk about, Thai Shoemaker, is a bespoke shoemaker, and I know that for the process, when they, in most cases with customers, they make different styles for left and right foot. From a base that they've sort of, but then they have the customer decide and maybe put things from both designs. And
you can see so much effort, and thought is going and it feels like every line is exactly where it should be. Aging Murata from Mount Dore. just beautiful shoes. And then, what should be the other guy? I wrote it down because I never can pronounce it. Masayuki Kaneko.
Oh yeah, all right. Yeah,
I don't know, just the styles, see that, known styles with a twist. But always like a very, very clever twist.
Yeah. I think maybe Rendo Asakusa or Rendo is a brand that I sort of think resembles you in a bit.
Yeah.
With at least when it comes to casual styles that you offer.
Yeah.
Sort of highly wearable stuff in today's day and age. If you don't want to wear sneakers, sort of, if you put it like that.
Yeah.
That's from my personal perspective. I wear sneakers, of course, a lot, and I also wear a lot of dress shoes. But I also, in the sort of in-between thing that works best for me is when you have a welted, properly made shoe, but with softer, you talked a little bit with softer outsoles, then you get sort of a comfort, bit more casual style that I like how they feel, so to speak.
Yeah. And for example, the shoe that I'm wearing is like with a softer upper and then a crepe sole.
Yeah, crepe sole.
It's more comfortable almost than a sneaker, because then in the sneaker it's still a lot of plastic.
Yeah.
I mean, you have like high-end sneakers or like, with the...
And I get tired when I walk with cushion insoles and stuff like that. I get tired in my feet walking a day in that. But if I have the support of a proper leather insole, it's different. So
I think for us that's the most interesting route. That kind of company. I mean, you still do the classics and all that, but then to be able to do a comfortable shoe that is still properly made with the cork, with the good leather insole and all of that. Yeah.
Would you have any advice to shoe brands out there looking to find their own sort of unique design language?
What worked for us was trial and error. You have an idea, you try, you see how it looks, and if it doesn't look good, then you readjust. So for us, it was always interesting because we did the designs in Zurich, and then we sent the ideas, the pictures to Spain, and then we go to Spain and see how the samples look. And I remember the first time, then you go to the production, you look for the samples, you find it, it's like, that looks bad.
It's surprising how things in your head can be completely different.
Yeah.
When I work with schools, especially here, we do a lot of design work, and like you say, when you have something in your head and put down on paper and all things, but then you see it in the flesh and it looks...
Yeah. And I remember the first time, and then I was like, oh, that looks bad. And as I look at Helms, like, it always looks bad. That's okay. At the first time you see it, it kind of looks, and then maybe, the sole is not there yet. Yeah. And then
tweak it to the direction.
Yeah. And then sometimes we just, we took a cutter and, cut some stuff away and then kind of glued it back a different way to see how it looks.
Yes. Yeah.
So definitely, just to play around once you have an idea to do that. And then the second part is to kind of square, doing a unique design with actually being commercial.
Yeah.
To be able to, to have a business, because it's one thing to make a unique shoes. It's a different thing to make a living off of it.
Yeah.
So that
how people want to buy stuff and wear them.
Yeah.
The other things in the wardrobes.
Yeah. So for us, for us, what was helpful is that we had stores. So, you get the direct feedback, what people like, maybe what they don't like. With the custom, it's nice that you can be a little bit more daring. And if people don't like it, you don't have, 100 shoes that you can sell. So, that definitely helps. But also with us, I remember the very first ready-to-wear collection, we're like, okay, we're gonna do funky stuff, because we're not gonna just do black cap to Oxfords. And then we did like a side-laced hole cut in a cognac patina, and we did a ghillie Oxford in like a light gray patina. Yeah, it just didn't sell, or didn't sell as much, and you realize like, okay, that stuff makes sense for us for the custom, and ready-to-wear is a little bit more toned down. And up to now, you have that battle, because you want to do ready-to-wear that's unique, that's interesting, And on the other hand, you want to be sure that at the end of the season, you sold your stuff.
But it must be quite a good process to have that you sort of can introduce stuff for custom and very much see what sort of takes off with customers and the things that you see sell that you can bring into the ready-to-wear range.
Interestingly enough, it doesn't always work. We had some styles that we sold really well in the custom, and you're like, okay, no brainer.
Yeah.
We take it as a ready-to-wear, and then it doesn't sell. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's definitely, it's a good playground because then you can maybe go a little bit overboard, see how people like it, and then kind of come back down. And if you find a good spot, then you use it as a ready to wear. And so you get to do ready to wear that are maybe a little bit more interesting, but they're already kind of tested in the field. Yeah. Like,
but how important would you say this part is in today's day in age, so to speak, to sort of set and out?
I guess it depends on what you want to do, right? It's, you have some companies that just want to make the best shoe they can possibly make. You have others who kind of want to make a really good shoe, but for an affordable price. You have others who do like a decent shoe, but they're very good at marketing, and that's their, their approach. And for us, it was always clear that, on one hand, you want to do the best shoe possible within your means, and also, we that's still, let's say, affordable. But at the same time, also, kind of carry a certain signature. Yeah, as you say, I mean, for us, that's the nicest compliment. If somebody says, like, you can kind of tell that's a shoe from Majordome. That's where you want to.
Like
where you want to get.
It's a tricky thing
because you don't want to be gimmicky.
No,
right?
Exactly.
Because it's always hard to come up with something new that stands out, but not in a bad way.
And you will always do stuff that doesn't work. And maybe that comes out gimmicky, and therefore
it's also interesting. We have some styles that we did, and then we just loved it, and then custom made. Like every third customer almost had to buy that shoe because they're like, it's such a cool pair, and they're like, okay, cool, I do it. And then like 2-3 years later, it kind of faded out, and then we don't sell it because it's also a lot of it's in the store what do you think you like, and then that combination with the customer is like, that's really cool, you're gonna like that, and then you sell it. And if you're like, I'm not really into it, then you don't sell it.
Interesting. So looking ahead then, where do you see Majordome and your shoe design develop in the future?
So for us now, it's a bit of a concentration, consolidation of what we do. So we're at over 100 different patterns. So we're not going to make new patterns necessarily each season. It's more like kind of, we've arrived at the end of the loop, and now we go around it once more. We kind of go through older styles, see like, actually here we could tweak it a little bit and then kind of bring it more into the overall look. Some were like, just, it was fun at the time, but it doesn't kind of fit. And then we, maybe retire that style. You can still, somebody saw it somewhere, we can still do it, but it's not in the catalog anymore. So we're kind of at that, because otherwise at some point it's also hard to create an identity if you have 200 styles. Maybe in 5 years we have like 30, like the strongest ones, and then each should kind of really be chiseled out and have exactly the look we want. So I'd say this is where we're at. And then long term, what would be interesting is, instead of working on the patterns, maybe working a bit more on the lasts. Because we basically work with 2 lasts, round toe and more chiseled toe. And it would be interesting to go maybe a bit more sportier, maybe a little bit rounder in the front. And the same with the sole options. We do have a lot of sole options, but even there could be interesting to get a little bit more into sneaker type that's still Goodyear welted. But that has kind of that feel, or maybe that look. I think that would be interesting, because then again, like some of the patterns we have could be fun to do them again on a different last with a different sole, and then kind of, it gets a new character by changing the shape of it. Yeah. And then maybe like an elegant hole cut would look weird, but like a galoshe sneaker could look even more, more like that look you were going for. Yeah.
And for the company, so to speak, business side, more stores, more online.
Your online would be nice. So this is...
You don't sell much online nowadays, no?
No, really, very little. And
very sort of retro in that.
Very retro, and not as a principle, not like there's some brands who, they don't want to go. It's not that. It's more that it's two things, that maybe it's not what we're very good at, and then you focus on what you're good at, and I think we're very good at the stores. And that's where we put our passion in. And then you're kind of caught up in the daily business, and you don't have time to open up a whole, online platform and all of that, from 8 to 9 in the evening. But definitely, doing that a little bit. Then similar to what we're doing with the design, maybe with the company, kind of, go around everything again, maybe making sure that, maybe 2 people are doing kind of the same thing. Okay, maybe just one person does it, reports to the other, because everything kind of evolved organically.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good moment to kind of, take a step back and look and see where we can fine tune things. And then once we have that, then we will have to see if you want to grow in retail, you almost have to do it with external money. Because it's, the stores themselves, they don't generate a profit where you're going to open up another store on Madison Avenue, or not for us at the moment. Yeah. So we'll see. What would be fun would be wholesale.
Because you don't only sell directly now.
We have a few accounts.
Yeah.
But especially also in the US, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
So my partner here, Dennis, he used to be in the wholesale business. He brought a Corte to Saks.
Okay.
So that's his that's what he knows. So that would be fun, because also price wise, I think we're at a good point where it's not like luxury high end, but it's it's an interesting route. And this way you grow the brand. You maybe don't make much of a shoe, but you grow the brand, and your shoes get out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Daniel Bucheli of Majordome. Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you for listening to this episode. Go to shoegazing.com for much more on quality shoes. And if you want to support shoegazing and make it easier for me to continue to produce high-level content, there is a Patreon page where you can contribute with anything from $4 a month. Both big and small contributions are much appreciated. See shoegazing.com for more info on this. The Shoegazing podcast will be back with a new episode early next year. That time it will be a Q&A special with the American-Japanese shoemaker Seiji McCarthy. So hear you again soon.